Afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It's Eric Coffin, HR Advisories. I'm speaking to you here from the November 2018 edition of the Metal Investor Forum. I'm here with Chris Taylor, the CEO of Great Bear Resources. Subscribers will know it's a company I follow in the newsletter, of course. They've had a great deal of success in Red Lake, and this has really turned into quite the story. I mean, you guys just are closing a financing. I understand the demand for that was rather strong.
Yeah, I think it would have been easy to do, say, $15 million or so. We did $3.5 million. We only wanted to issue 1 million shares.
And I think you can see that in the market without talking out of school too much. I've got a pretty good idea who was talking to you, who the buyers would be, and you can see those firms in the market.
You can.
So
yeah.
presumably they have clients that aren't
correct.
Don't have as much as they want to have.
Correct. That was part of the philosophy. Yeah.
And part of what you guys made a couple of pretty exciting discoveries this year. I mean, high grade drill holes, but I mean, you guys have kind of been on you've been on the track here for a while.
Yep.
But it seems as time goes on, your project Dixie in the Red Lake camp. I know you've remarked in presentations that part of the reason you were able to get it, quite cheaply.
Yeah.
Is because it was supposed to be sort of the wrong rocks in the wrong place.
Yeah, that's right.
And it seems like as things are evolving here, not so much the wrong rocks, not so much the wrong place.
No, even to the point where we're surprised.
Right.
Right. And part of the benefit to Great Bear is the staff that we have, and we have 4 geos that used to work at the main Red Lake gold mine and at other deposits in the district. And they've all worked extensively drilling off some of the high-grade zones, particularly the high-grade zone, at the main mine, which is kilometers down at depth. And the mineralization and the rocks and the other features that we're seeing in the rock right now, I mean, it looks very similar to that. And the more we drill it, the more similarities that we find. I mean, we're in the unusual position recently of announcing that we'd hit these ultramafic rocks,
right.
And having the market react positively to it. And I think the reason for that was that if it were the wrong rocks, they wouldn't be there.
Well, yeah, because I can remember before that release came out, friends of mine who are geos who like the drill results enough to be buying the stock. Several of them asked, where are the ultramafics? Because it's kind of they're known to sort of be somehow, some way tied into the Red Lake model. It's sort of a thing.
Yep.
So everybody kind of goes looking for that unit on the map.
That's right.
And it wasn't there before you guys came along.
Exactly. Well, it's there now.
Yeah.
And, this is one of these things, I think there's other similarities that we're starting to see between the Dixie property and, say, like the main mine. And, you look at the same kind of fold geometries, the same geological unit types, the same structural controls, and similar mineralization. And that's really where our exploration is driving towards, is to demonstrate to the market just how far that similarity goes.
And I think it's important for people to understand. I mean, you put out some great holes from the hinge zone, as you call it. You put out some great holes from the north limb. You made a new discovery in the south limb, but in Red Lake, in this resource type, deposit type, you've got the system and you've got the chutes.
Yeah.
The ore in these mines tends to be quite high grade. Generally, you've got these high grade chutes that generally don't have much strike length. They've got tons of dip length.
Yeah.
But it's important for people to understand that at Dixie, it's not even so much a matter of you've got, it looks like you've got some chutes on the north limb. You've obviously got something going on the fold nose.
Yeah.
You've got a lot of system that you really have barely even touched at this point.
That's absolutely correct, Eric. And we were surprised with the most recent work that the original contact that we were drilling, which is a northwest to southeast trending geologic contact, it's cut across by an east-west trending contact, which is also mineralized. I guess The second one is not so much a contact as it is controlled by the big regional folds. And it's amazing, like that's several kilometers of additional target cutting across the other one that we were working on before. And my thesis, and as a structural geologist and somebody involved in the project, I think there's going to be a lot of relatedness and connectedness between what we call the hinge zone and the south limb zone. And I think that opens up a whole trend of additional contacts that we will have to explore through 2019.
And it's worth pointing out again, if you're not that familiar with the story, I mean, one of the strengths of Great Bear is it's got a very tight structure, fairly large control block between a couple of investors and management and founders, and you got a pretty good bank account now after the last 2 placements.
Correct. I mean, we'll be at about $15 million in the bank. Initially, when we announced we were doing a 30,000 meter drill program, maybe 150 holes, I mean, we were already overfunded for that. That should cost us about $5 million between now and the end of the year. But there would be enough funds on hand in the company now to drill something like 80 to 90,000 meters, depending on hole depth, right? But that could be 400 to 500 drill holes without going back to the market.
And you were between programs there, getting caught up, getting results out. You started drilling again. So I guess, going forward, once this, with this financing closing, we can look forward to a pretty steady slate of news going forward after that?
That's right. I mean, we're very impressed with what we've been seeing generated from the project. I would imagine that there'll be announcements in just how much we're upscaling the program. We're getting some information together, and then there'll be some news out about that. We did allude to it in our last news release. It's one of the reasons we allowed some of these funds that were interested in the company to come in for little positions. It gives us the ability to immediately upscale to match some of the work that we're doing right now.
Okay, so the Great Bear Resources, fabulous chart, great discovery in Red Lake, probably one of the premier camps in the world when it comes to gold, not just in the sense of the endowment, but in the sense of the attention and valuation that it gets from the market, and you're seeing that with Great Bear. Just started a 30,000 meter plus drill program.
Yeah.
So it's going to be news flow through the next year, I guess, really. I
mean, theoretically, we could drill nonstop for 2 years,
right.
Solid, without having to finance again.
All right, sounds great. I mean, it's a great story. If you're not paying attention already, you need to get on it before the phase 2 results start coming. GBR on the venture. Thanks for coming by, Chris.
Thanks very much, Eric. Good to see you again.